Hello, welcome back. I'm Viola, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. I would advise that you go watch my previous videos so you can follow along. So, in today's class, we are going to talk about the 4 goals of psychology. Psychology has 4 goals, and once you understand them, you see them operating everywhere, just like I do. And when I mean everywhere, you're going to see it operating in your workplace, your relationships, in every conversation you have with another human being, or every conversation you have about human behavior. So it's important to know that these 4 goals build upon each other in one specific order. So let me walk you through all of them. Goal 1 is to describe. Before you can do anything else, you have to name what you are seeing. You have to name the behavior you see. What behavior is happening? This is a question you have to ask. You have to classify this behavior and observe it carefully. Okay? And this behavior, I know I told you that in psychologists like to study the full picture, so both the covert and the overt behavior, you have to observe it carefully. So goal 2 of psychology is to explain. It's to explain behavior. So how do you explain behavior? Once you know what is happening, which is to describe this behavior, you ask why. Why is this behavior happening? What is causing this behavior? That's an important question to ask. Another question to ask is, under what conditions does this behavior occur? So when you do this, you have explained the behavior. Goal 3 is to predict behavior. So based on what you now understand, because you would understand the behavior after you've explained it, based on what you understand, what is likely to happen next? Likely to happen next, okay? Because this is not saying what must happen next or what is going to happen next. This is likely, so you have to underline that word. So this is where patterns become genuinely powerful. Alright. I'm very sure that by the time you're able to describe behavior, explain it, you're going to see patterns. And these patterns are going to help you predict. Goal 4 is to control behavior. And this particular goal always surprises people, right? I want you to understand that control in this context or in psychology does not mean to manipulate. It doesn't mean to trick people or to control them against their will. It means that once we understand what has caused this behavior, we can create conditions that change it for better. That is just what control in psychology means. So let me give us a real life example. Let me show you all 4 goals working together in one real situation. So a student keeps failing exams despite studying hours every day. How do you go about this behavior? First of all, you describe. So you have observed this behavior carefully, and you have, classified it. So describing this behavior would be saying that the student studies 3 or more hours daily and consistently. scores below 50%. Now that's a great description. Then what do you do next? You explain. So now you look more carefully. We find that this student, the reason why they are studying 3 or more hours daily and consistently score below 50% is because they are always rereading their notes. Rereading. You found out why this behavior is happening, which is to explain the behavior. You found out the cause, and that is explaining the behavior. Okay. Now, research has shown that rereading is one of the least effective study methods for long-term retention. So as a psychologist, there is already research that has tested this behavior, which is rereading. And now you have a solution. You know what rereading does. You see that is the least effective study method for long-term retention. So the effort is real on the student side, but the method is the problem. So now you've explained. What's next? You predict. And this is your prediction. The prediction is if nothing changes, the scores will not improve. And this prediction has been made based on patterns. And I have told you that it must not actually happen. It's likely to happen. So you predict that, okay, more hours of the same ineffective method would produce the same result. So what do? You control. So we change the method. We change the method by doing what? We introduce active recall. That is testing material yourself, testing yourself on material, asking questions, maybe doing assignments on these. Then that's much more effective than just rereading the notes every time. You open it, you read and close it and read it again. Right? So when you test yourself, you ask questions, you'll be able to exercise your recall muscle. You try to see what you can remember and all that. Also, another effective way is spaced repetition. So you revisit what you have recalled over increasing intervals. This will make performance improve significantly. So right now it's the same students, the same hours, but with different conditions and a different outcome. So that is the fourth goal in action, which is control. So what is the key takeaway from this class? Number one, the 4 goals of psychology are describe, explain, predict, and control. And it's always in that order. We do not mix it up. You see that you have to take the first step before you'll be able to do the last step. Okay, number 2, you cannot explain what you have not first described carefully. And number 3, control in psychology means creating better conditions, not forcing anybody to do anything, or it's not mind control. Okay, so in our next class, we're going to go deeper into the 4th goal, because we have to talk on it. We have to stretch upon that goal, control. Alright, so would know what control actually means, and it is not what most people think. See you in the next class. Bye.